everyone, it's Kathy Lake here, UK designer for Bello's Designs, and today my talk crafty to me is all about using Brushos. Brushos have been around for quite some time, and they are a pigmented ink, and they have bursts of vibrant colour. I've had mine for a very long time. The box is all tatty, and when you look at some of them, they're quite well used. I've even got my name in the top so they don't get mixed up with other people's when we're out crafting together. Anyway, basically for people who haven't used Brushos yet, they come in a very small pot, small little tub of 15 grams, and you think, gosh, that's not very long. But I've had mine at least 4 years. They last ever such a long time, and you pierce a hole in the top with a little pokey tool, and you can just sprinkle it out of the container. When I very first got mine, the very first set I got, I didn't do that. I opened the top like this and tried sprinkling it, and I wasted so much Brushos, and it was such a dark, strong colour too. So I wouldn't recommend that. I would definitely poke a hole in the top and use that. I'm going to show you a few different techniques of the Brushos today. The first couple are going to be very small concentrated amounts, just to add a little splash of colour behind a design. So if you want to stamp, one of the stamps I'm going to be using today will be the Lavinia 694 Bronze Fairy. So I want to have a very small burst of colour behind her. So that's the first one I'm going to do, and I'm going to use black for that particular one. And you'll see when it comes to squirting it with water and the colours start to mingle, you'll see that although it's black, there are other colours in there too. So I'm just going to get one piece of card here, and because I want a very small concentrated amount, I'm not going to wet the card at all first. If I was going to be doing a bold vibrant background, I might wet the background first, which would hold the Brusho in place. But like I say, I just want literally a small tiny amount. I'm just going to do 3 sprinkles. That's all I'm doing. 3 little taps. I don't know if you can see that, but it's a very small amount. And then with my fan brush, I'm just going to brush some of them into the middle a little bit, because when I squirt it with water, it will spread out anyway. So I'm just going to give it about 3 squirts of water. Turn it around that way. And you can see already the vibrant colours that are in there. And you can see them doing their magic. You see there's blue and orange. There's all these little spots of colour at the side as well. And it's swirling around. Right, I'm going to leave that to dry naturally and come back to that in a little while to stamp it. So that's the first thing you can do with Brushos, just a very small concentrated amount. The next one I'm going to be doing is similar to the first. It's also using black and a small amount, but it's going to be using a very watered down bleach solution, and I'll show you how that works as well. I don't use my nice fan brush for that. I've got an older fan brush I use for that. So again, I'm going to use just some tiny sprinkles like that, and squirting. So what I want to do with this one, I'm going to put about half a teaspoon of bleach in a glass with half a pint of water. So it's a tiny amount of bleach, and I'm just going to use this bleach solution to water down the edges, so it gets rid of some of the excess little bits around the edges. I'm just going to got my water on the wrong side, which doesn't help. If you don't like the smell of bleach, you might not want to do this. Turn it around. Hold it down. I think that'd be enough bleach. And then immediately you put your fan brush into a brush of plain water, just normal water, to to stop it from rotting, because if you don't do that your brush will rot. And then using a baby wipe, I'm just going to sort of try and dry off a little bit of the area and take off some of that bleach. And you see some of the bleach comes off. So that's quite similar to card 1, but I don't have any little splashes around like this does. I've removed those splashes. So again, I'm going to leave that one to dry for a minute, and then I'm going to do a third one now. I can find a piece of card. This particular one I want to have as a background, and I want to have a couple of colours. So I think I'm going to have 3 colours in this one. I'm not going to use the black this time. I think I'll use the orange, the turquoise and the yellow. So I'm going to start by spraying a little bit of water on my card, and then as I sprinkle the Brushos, you'll start to see them taking place. And the final one, give it a little tap, is yellow. Right. And now we're going to squirt it with some water. Now you can move it around if you want to. You might think, oh, it's too much blue on there, well, let's have some more yellow. And then you can add some more. And with this one, I'm going to do the ink sandwich. So I'm going to do a plain piece of card on the top, squash them together. And then I drip off, I hold them up so all the drips can come off. Or even use a wipe across the bottom there, just to stop them going too far. It's very messy, and you end up, well, I end up with Brushos all over my fingers. It's quite a, you do need to wear old clothes, and don't do it on a very nice table or something. Make sure it's protected. This is my work desk, so I'm fine. So those are the 2 from the sandwich, which create quite a nice background. And I'm going to do one more. And I'm going to do this one. I'm going to, again, squirt a bit of water down first. And then I'm going to use the Prussian blue, which is quite a bold colour. And I'm going to have it with a bit of lime green. Now the lime green, when it comes out, as you can see, looks orange. Let's see what happens when we squirt. And then you can actually use, I often do this, use a wet wipe or a bit of kitchen roll and just go over the background. That's quite nice. I think I might have a little bit more green though. How about there? And I'll leave that one to dry too. It's great fun. You can do it with all sorts of colours. In fact, I'm going to do one more while I'm here. Excuse me. Get rid of that bit of rubbish paper. And I'm going to do, I've got a sea green here. I'm going to use the sea green. And I'm going to use a bit of the ultramarine as another colour. So again, I'm going to slightly wet the card down. You can see how messy this is. I've got mess all over my stand, all over my glass mat. I'll have to give it a clean afterwards. So a bit of ultramarine. bit of sea green, and we'll have a little bit of scarlet. Just add some splashes of colour, and then spray. It's fantastic. It looks like fireworks in the sky, doesn't it? Sometimes I just do cards with this background and don't stamp at all, just have a bold colourway. Just take some of that off because it's quite strong. There we go. I'm quite happy with that one too. It does look a bit like fireworks. So I'm going to remove my messy paper. As you can see, it goes through to the next level. It does get quite messy. I shall be back in a couple of minutes. Just going to let this dry, air dry, rather than dry it with my dryer, because I prefer the effect of it being air dried. So I shall be back in a moment when it's dry. Right, I'm back. It's dried. They've all dried, pretty much dry now, so I can show you what they look like. This is the first one that we did. And this is the second one. These were the ink sandwich, so it's quite a subtle background. It'd be quite nice to stamp on. And another background, and the very vibrant background. I'm actually going to stamp on one of these two today. I think I'll stamp on this one. And I'm going to stamp with the Bron Fairy. So let me just get my ink. Okay, sorry about that. Give her quite a good inking. I think I'll have a maybe sit in that way, I think. And I'm just going to leave her there for a minute. I need to see if I've got my glue pen. Right, and let's see if that's enough. There we go, that's come out quite well. There's a little bit on her back that I think I can just do with a bit of pencil. And I think I'm going to leave her wings clear. I've pre-cut a piece of blue background card. So I'm just going to get my glue and glue that. You often find as well with the Brushos that they quite often manage to get on the back of the card as well. That's why I prefer doing it onto a piece of Multifarious card and then backing it onto a card afterwards. There we go. I'm just going to trim that on my machine to make it straight. And there it is. And then I'm just going to glue this blue background onto a piece of card that when folded measures 5 inches by 7 inches. And we'll just place her there. It's quite a nice simple card, quite a plain and simple card. I just want to show you a couple of other backgrounds that I did earlier today. I did some a blue wavy one, and again with the yellow and the turquoise, which is quite my favourite combination, I think. And another stamp, one that I stamped up earlier. It doesn't need much else. When it's got quite a vibrant background like that, you just need a stamp, a nice stamped image. And that's it. So thank you very much for watching. And please join us on our Facebook groups. We have 2 groups. We have Del Bello's design lounge for Lavinia. And we also have the Del Bello's a la carte for all other supplies in the Del Bello stores. So I really hope to catch up with you on there. And thank you for watching. Bye bye.